What's up, guys? Welcome back to Cooking with the Boss. Today we're going to do some outdoor cooking. We're going to make bone-in cowboy ribeye. Let's get it. Alright guys, I got this cowboy ribeye from Sam's Club. This one was a little more expensive than the last one, but we're going to pop this out, plastic. I'm going to grab some gloves, and we're going to get to it. I always try to use some gloves when I can, because I don't know who all's going to be eating, but I know if it's just me, I don't really worry about it, but you know, it is what it is. Today I'm going to be using some Meat Church The Gospel all-purpose rub, and then of course Hardcore Carnivore Black. Perfect thing for a steak. Alright, let's get this bad boy out of here. How beautiful is that? Huge. And the bone, we're going to leave the bone on it. Some people do, some people don't. Just is what it is. And you can probably hear the dogs barking in the background. But let's get a little seasoning going. I'm going to do a light application of this all-purpose rub. Just real quick first. Just a little bit. I'm not going to put anything on the bone because I want the bone to be pretty. I'm going to wrap it in tin foil. That way it doesn't brown like the rest of the steak. This is one of our favorite meals to do at home because you can buy one steak and feed like 4 people. Just a little bit of that. Put that up. Now we're going to get the star of the show out. Guys, we've used this stuff on so many different steaks. It's awesome. It gives the illusion of a charred outside of the steak, but some people look at it and they'll say, "Oh, you burnt that steak." But no. And feel good about putting as much on it as you want. Some people say don't put a lot, but in the end it's such a thick steak and we're slicing it laterally, so you got to think each piece that you get of the steak is only going to have a tiny little bit on the rim of the piece. So just based on the way that we're cooking it, I like to put it on pretty heavy. And you can use what you've already got on the cutting board. Try and use all that you can. Boom. Looks good to me. Alright guys, today we're going to be cooking on the Pit Boss Pro Series 850. I'm going to be setting it to 220. So what I'm going to do is go down here, crank her up, set it to 220, boom. Best part about the smoker, set it, forget it. I'm going to clean the inside of it off. She's a little bit dirty, so I'm going to let that warm up, and then I'm going to clean a little bit off, and then we're going to get the steak on. So guys, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take a small piece of tin foil and I'm going to fold it in half like so. I definitely didn't think this setup through very well. Smoke's blowing right in my face. And basically I'm going to start on the edge of the bone and I'm going to wrap it. And the reason that I'm doing this is just because I'm bougie and I like the way that the bone looks after the steak has been cooked and charred. If this bone is wrapped in tin foil, the heat won't really affect this bone. So basically what I'm doing is just wrapping that bone really tight like that. That way, you'll see what it looks like when I'm finished. It's kind of cool. Alright guys, I got the Pit Boss set to 220. We're going to take this bad boy, we're going to go over there and put it on the grill. And we're going to put our temperature probe in. And I'll explain that to you when we get over here. The good thing about this steak is you can just grab it by the bone and carry it. Makes you feel manly, you know? Alright, Pit Boss is rocking. I'm going to put him right here on this side. temperature probe, and I'm going to go right in the middle. I'm going to try and get it as close to the middle of the steak as possible, because normally you should leave your steak to let it get to room temperature before you put it on, but today we just didn't have time, so we're going to kind of go like that. And another thing about this ribeye is that when you have a smaller family like we do, you can go to Sam's or wherever, Costco, whatever, and get one for 25, 30 bucks and feed the whole family. And who can say, and nobody wants to do it because nobody feels like they know how to cook it. But if you know how to turn something like this into a complete family meal, and normally my wife will cook all the sides and I'll come out here and do the steak, and it'll feed 4 or 5 people. So it's just a good meal, and it's cheap, and you can feel like you're eating like a king for not a lot of money, and that's hard to do these days, so this is a good option. Alright guys, the steak has been on for probably roughly 25-30 minutes. It really doesn't take long. I set the temperature at 220, like I said earlier in the video, and I put my probe in, and we're actually going to 115. Now some of you may say that's super rare, don't want that, but the way that we're cooking the steak is reverse searing it. So we got it in the smoker at 220, and we're gonna get it up to 115, then I'm gonna take it off, and I'm gonna crank the smoker way up and let the open flame open, and then we're gonna sear the steak. So it's still gonna cook further, probably to 120, 125, which is normally around medium rare-ish. So I like my steak rare, but that's just me. Some people may like it more cooked. I think it's a waste of steak, but oh well. But anyway, let's take a look at it. It's at 75 degrees or 78 degrees now internal. Like I said, we're going to 115, so it shouldn't take but another 20-30 minutes at the most. So let's take a look at it. It looks kind of like I rolled it in gravel. Let's get a little close up on it here. Like I said, it looks kind of like I rolled it in gravel and dirt, but that'll all change here in just a minute when we sear it. But like they say, if you're looking, you ain't cooking. So let's close it up and let him get back in there for a little bit. All right, guys, the steak's been on for roughly an hour, 45-50 minutes or so. It has reached internal temperature of 115, so we're going to take it off, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do next. Cut door. See how hot it is. It's a little toasted. I'll pull this out. There. Him over there. She looks pretty good, but we're gonna sear it up here in just a minute. But come over here to the smoker. I'm gonna crank it up to about 350, and as soon as that gets up, we're gonna sear it on there over the open flame, and then it'll be ready to go. All right, guys, the pit boss is at 375, so we're gonna try and sear the steak over an open flame, and then it'll be all good. She's hot and ready. I'm gonna bring him over there. Him or her, whatever you want to refer to. Hear that? Beautiful. We can get some spiked up on there. Got the open flame on it right now, trying to get some good grill marks on the outside. Hopefully you can hear all that sizzling. And when I take this tin foil off the bone here in a few minutes, you'll understand why I did that. I'm going to sear it on both sides, and I'm going to get the top and the bottom, and then we'll be ready to roll. And she should be right up about 125, 130 now, which is pushing it for me. But, you know, it's for the public, so we'll see what happens. I'm gonna hold him up on that side for a minute, let him get nice and seared on that. Over there. Try not to burn my hand. Make sure you have a good glove on, unlike what I have on right now. So hopefully this glove won't melt to my fingers. One more little second on that back side, and then we'll be good to go. This is super simple. It's not hard at all, and it looks super cool once you get done with it. Party favor for sure. And it only costs like 30 bucks. Alright, that looks pretty good. Let's take him off. Sit it right there. Turn the pit balls off. Alright, now here's what I'm going to do. A little secret weapon here. The steak's still super hot, so I'm going to take some Chef Shammy garlic butter from Sam's Club. Also a must get. Find me a little butter knife. I'm going to cut a little thin slivers, and I'm going to put it on top. This butter, the steak's so hot, this butter's going to melt down really quick on the steak and kind of run down in those muscle separations in the steak. And then we'll let it sit and rest for a few minutes, and then we'll be ready to try her out. Dropped a piece. Alright guys, the butter has melted. The finished product is here. We're going to cut it up. Perfect medium rare. Looks like a lot of fat, but it's the joy of a ribeye. Beautiful. Alright, let's slice this thing up. That piece over there. Alright guys, the steak's done. Beautiful medium rare. You can see how juicy, soft that looks. Look at that. Unreal. See it dripping off. That garlic butter seeped down into the muscle. All of that super tender. You can see here, this is more medium rare. This is more like medium to medium rare. You can even chew on the bone when you're done. So good. Even you can give the old pups outside something. So we'll try a piece of it now. Out of this world. You gotta cook this for your family. Such a cheap, amazing meal. You feel like a king. And you can even have a huge bone to chew on at the end. Alright guys, there it is. We've all eaten about 4 or 5 pieces so far. Unbelievable steak. You got to try this for your family at home. That is how you cook a cowboy ribeye like a boss.